Well, we just can't seem to shake Nick Saban. He seemed to have some very interesting and revealing things to say to ESPN's Chris Lowe.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and thank you for making us your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. We're creeping up on 10,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button. All right, Jimmy, Chris Lowe, who does a marvelous job for ESPN. I mean, I think he's got his finger on the pulse of all things college football, but especially at the SEC. And he had an interview with Nick
Good
Saban.
pals with Jimmy Sexton. That helps. That's a pretty good source.
That helps.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. He went to college. He actually graduated from Tennessee with Jimmy Sexton, and they're buddies going back to when they were in college, before Chris Lowe worked for ESPN, before Jimmy Sexton was even a sports agent. They've been friends since then. So that's why Chris Lowe's got some good info all the time.
Yeah, he does. Now, a couple of things stood out in the interview. I would implore you to read it yourself. It is very good. But one thing that came up, and this is something I think I told you weeks ago, that somebody told me, hey, one of Saban's main reasons for leaving is he had a meeting with all the players, and he got some really sort of not good answers. Everybody wanted money, or everybody wanted more playing time, or they were transferring. And I think that rubbed Saban the wrong way. Now, he was already on the precipice probably of retirement. Whether it be in a year, 2 years, 4 years, whatever. But I think this sort of sent him over the edge. It's not the only reason. And it's not that he was scared of NIL. I mean, Saban has been on record. I heard him say out of his mouth at that Saban Legacy Awards, I'm for the players getting paid. But as I told our good friend Chris Cordy last night on Locked On SEC, we've got to have everybody hates the government, right? I mean, whatever governing body you're dealing with, in this instance, it's the NCAA. They hate more big government intervention, which was the NCAA, and they definitely abused their power, 100%. But now we've swung the pendulum so far in the other direction, that's messed up. We've got to have something to guard against the ultimate collapse of college sports, especially college football, if things don't change. And again, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I get that Saban is very worried about the future of college football. And I thought that it was very revealing that he said that about some of the players. And it really paints some of the – you don't know – he didn't say anybody by name, to his credit. But, it really paints players in kind of a bad light when he says that, doesn't it?
In some ways, it does. I think it's just the reality, though. I think any fan out there that thinks this is specific to Alabama is wrong. This is college football, period. The players at Alabama are no different in terms of their attitudes and in terms of their wants and needs than the players at Georgia or Ohio State or Clemson or Kansas or Wake Forest. I mean, they're all kids the same age. They're all high-level athletes. I think, what I don't like about the conversation, or what I don't like about the tenor of it, is I think too many are I don't like the opinion that Nick Saban left because of NIL. That's 100% not true. You know who says that's not true? Nick Saban says that's not true. But it is a factor. And I think there's a couple of big things here. If Nick Saban was 10 years younger, he not only would live with NIL and the transfer portal, he would be efforting in his 25-hour-a-day work ethic to find a way to beat everybody else. Hey, this is how we're going to use NIL better than everybody else. This is how we're going to use the portal better than everybody else. He would not only find a way to deal with it, he would thrive in it. The 72-year-old Nick Saban looks at NIL and the transfer portal and says, I'm too old for this. And we know what the last word is if we've seen Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
I think the 72-year-old Saban doesn't want to deal with this, whereas the 62-year-old Saban would have begrudgingly, even though he didn't like it, would have found a way to use it to his benefit. So really, it's his age. He's not denied this. He says it himself. I think people prefer conspiracy theories to just listening to what he's saying. Here's the great thing about it. I do have sources close to Coach Saban. I do. So I kind of know some things he says privately, some things. And what I'm hearing publicly lines up 100% with what me and you both have been hearing since he left. I mean, nothing in the Chris Lowe article is shocking or new to those of us close to the situation. The only thing that surprises me is like, hey, this is literally exactly it. This is it. This is it. It's the combination of his age and the new reality of what college football is like. People will say, well, the new reality chased him out. Well, yeah, but that new reality wouldn't have chased him out 10 years ago. It's chased him out now.
That's the thing. And then, like, when you have grandchildren and you've got plenty of money and you've got Mercedes dealerships and you've got offers from ESPN to make $1 gazillion going up there and just talking football, I mean,
it's easier to say.
It makes a lot of more sense now. And again, all this, he got chased out and he was scared of this, scared of that. That's so dumb. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true at all. It's just why. If he left solely because of that, then why did Kalen DeBoer take the job?
Exactly.
For less money, by the way. Why did he take the job? If it's so untenable, no one wants to do it, then why did Kalen DeBoer take the job? Because he's 49 years old. He's got the energy. He wants to work in this environment. It's still his environment. This is a great job for him. Nick Saban didn't have to do it anymore. That's what led to the decision.
Exactly. And there were some other things in the article too. They're very, very interesting. Greg Byrne, I thought, was incredibly transparent and open. I appreciated that. You don't really get that a lot from ADs a lot of times. And essentially it came down to Kalen DeBoer versus Mike Norvell. Yeah, there were probably some tire kicking of Steve Sarkisian, but it made sense that, hey, he's going to stay at Texas. That made a lot of sense.
Which is what me and you said the whole time when we were covering the change. That's what we both said. Sark would be great, probably not hireable. We were correct.
Yeah. And I mean, it's I don't take any offense to that as an Alabama fan saying, yeah, Texas can probably outspend you. And Texas, even though Alabama's been incredibly dominant, their brand is as big as Alabama's overall. So, I mean, it makes total sense.
And he's been building it from the ground up and is now seeing the fruits of that labor. He's now having some success with what he's built at Texas. There's no reason for him there's no greener pasture for him. I do think there's a chance down the road Sark may leave for the NFL. I mean, I think that's reasonable and realistic. I think there's a chance Kirby leaves Georgia for the NFL. A chance. I think there's a better chance that they're not going to another college.
It makes a lot of sense. Shoot, you work less, make more money, and you can go 9-7 and make the playoffs.
And have time off. Yeah, it's the time
off.
off.
Ultimately be 10-9 or 10-8 because they're going to an 18-game season here shortly, it seems like. But the talk about Mike Norvell was a little interesting to me. I think that it sounds like they were essentially focused on those two, and my guess is this is me spitballing. I know Danny Cannell would disagree with me. I'm willing to bet DeBoer probably was the first option and Mike Norvell was very close. That's just my take on it. I believe that. I believe it would be higher.
I think it's exactly that. I'm not sure it's a 1A and 1B. I think it's a 1 and a 2. And I think DeBoer's 1 and Novell's 2. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad between the two, I'm very glad it was DeBoer myself. Others that feel differently, I'm not disagreeing or arguing. I just myself preferred DeBoer, even though Norvell had a longer track record. You know, that Florida State stuff last year rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm not talking about him arguing that FSU should have been in Alabama out. In his position, I get that entirely. He's wearing FSU shoes, could care less about Alabama. I get that totally. I'm not upset about that. What I'm upset about in terms of evaluating him as a head coach is I didn't like that look of Florida State's entire roster leaving and refusing to play in a New Year's Six bowl against the program in college football right now, which is the Georgia Bulldogs. The fact that he had players that could have stayed and done that, and they all left, and then there was the disgrace of that game. That was hard for me to flush myself. Now, I'm just speaking for me, and if people want to disagree, then I appreciate them listening.
Jimmy, time to talk a little eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, what brings home the winning trophy, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, you're not burning cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. And eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So some spring practice happened yesterday. Jimmy, I think you went to it, didn't you?
I was there. Awesome. I was listening to the music. Got distracted by the music and just listened to that. Didn't watch much practice. I was just jamming.
I watched a lot of the video highlights that other people had out there. I couldn't tell if they set their video to music or if the music was that loud.
The music was that loud. Yeah. It's loud. Of course it's loud because the team practices on – see, a lot of it is just where the video was being taken. Where the video and the photographers were at the practice field were like literally on top of the speakers. So it's probably going to sound loud, but keep in mind the team practices on about 2 to 3 different full-sized football fields. So players that were far away from the speakers, the music's very background. When you get up tight to the speakers, it's pretty loud, but it's got to be loud for the music to reach all points of that practice field. So it's really loud. It's so loud when I left practice and drove down Hackberry, for those that are familiar with the practice field, Hackberry passes by the practice fields. When you're in your car, even with the window rolled down, you can't hear the music. And it surprised me. I thought, man, I bet you could hear this from Hackberry easy, but you couldn't. It's really a close yard of speakers. But yeah, there's music, and I'm a fan of there being music at practice. I was there, didn't affect the thing, but seemed to improve tempo. The players like it. They said so in interviews. So I'm pro music. I think it's a fun issue to talk about in the sense that there's a big change, right? From Saban to DeBoer. There's a big change. Okay, so what's changed? Well, here's one obvious thing that changed. They play music at practice. And so many people. No, it's just music on loop. It was some sort of music on loop. In terms of how it was selected or chosen, I don't know. It was a mix.
That would be kind of cool if there were a DJ there, though.
Half of NFL teams employ DJs. Half of NFL teams do. They literally have DJs at practice. Yeah,
we need to get on that.
Yeah, but no, it's a recorded thing, and it was a lot of rap, a lot of hip hop, and a lot of rock. It wasn't one genre. It was those 3 genres. I heard nothing else. There was no slow dancing. There was no backward skating songs. There was not love songs. No Neil Diamond. No country. But there was rap, hip hop, and rock music, and it was young people's music. I could tell who a couple of artists were. I'm old now, 54 years old now. I could tell who a couple of artists were, but I didn't know the songs. They're young.
Were the cuss words bleeped?
No, but I also didn't hear anything that was crazy over the top.
Okay, so maybe S word. Since we can't say it here on Locked On.
I can't. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I kind of joked about, hey, I was listening to music and not watching practice. You get to watch them practice. I don't recall any of it. I recall it not being edited, but I don't recall it being
Well, I'm asking because Moore
offensive
famously
or
was. Yeah, so, okay. Let me also
most of
say
the cussing was from most of the cussing that I heard yesterday were from the reporters.
Gotcha. Tim Keenan, Deontay Lawson gave interviews afterwards, and I thought they both sounded awesome. And Tim Keenan especially really caught my attention because he was like, "Look, yeah, when Saban left, we all wonder, but he said, I always wanted to graduate from Alabama. I always wanted to be here, so I'm here." And we, essentially circled the wagons. And I think that's the mark of a leader. Deontay Lawson talking about coming back and being a leader. And then Malachi Moore actually saying that, hey, yeah, Deontay Lawson's really stepped it up vocally. And I think that's a huge positive because it feels like we haven't had that vocal leader in a couple of years. I've been saying that. Bryce Young, God bless him, I loved him, but I wouldn't call him necessarily a vocal leader. And then same thing on the other side. I mean, Jalen Milroe, I think, tried to be, and I think the team loves him. At the same time, I mean, it's hard to forget that he was actually benched third game of the season. And so I think that you need a vocal leader who is also like a certified badass, right?
It helps. I mean, to me, one of the, we'll be talking about the Saban era forever, and rightfully so. But one of the great aspects of it to me was the best players on the team were usually, not always, but usually the best players on the team were the best people on the team and the leaders on the team. Usually that was the situation. But we got spoiled and kind of ruined by that because that's not always the case. And I think leadership on the team is now maybe more important now that the cyborg has been replaced by what apparently appears to be a staff of human beings who are going to be great at some things but not perfect. Only cyborgs are perfect. So I think leadership on the team is more important now. But Malachi, man, can you believe him? I watched that interview, and 5 years a starter, not just 5 years on the team. Malachi Moore is going into his 5th year as a starter. Now, I know one of those years he was only the starter in dime, and Alabama's in dime only 20% of snaps. So he's only out there for 1 out of every 5 snaps on defense that particular year. But that's still a starter to me because when Alabama's like, hey, we're in dime, that's Malachi. So 5 years a starter, and that's an incredible thing. That doesn't happen much in college football anymore because for any number of reasons. But yeah, he's a clear leader on the team. So is Deontay. So is Milroe. I think those guys are the voices and face of the team. The next media practice, by the way, they get offensive coaches and offensive players. It was defense and defensive coaches yesterday.
All right, Jimmy, we come back, some recruiting talk. But how about this? How about we welcome on Fire TV from Amazon? I love that. I love Fire TV. I've had it for a while. My son used it in college. It's great. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and the most of the pro big leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis highlights and more to keep up to date on the latest world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB, lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. That's Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. All right, Jimmy. So some recruiting talk out there.
Yeah.
Alabama still making the move with some cats.
There were some
Naheem
dudes
Offord.
at practice yesterday. I mean,
Naheem
they were
Offord.
there.
Yeah,
They
the
were
Parker crew, let's call it that. They've got at least 3 prospects that Alabama's going after. The biggest name is Naheem Offord. The biggest one is Jordan Crawford, who's committed to Auburn. Both of those guys, actually, Naheem Offord's committed to Ohio State. Jordan Crawford committed to Auburn. But I would say Alabama's got a puncher's chance here.
They do with both. They were there. I mean, they were there. Naheem Offord, one of the most high-profile cornerback prospects in the United States. He was there. Alabama's recruiting the other corner on that team. Boy, what a loaded group they have at Parker. The other kid, Timothy Merritt, Alabama recruiting him. He was there, Offord there. Got a good chance. I don't know. I couldn't count. They're usually in a group, but it looked to me like well over 10, if not 12 or 15 guys that were there watching practice. Seem to be enjoying themselves. It's fun to be at practice. They get to stay the whole time. The media does not. The media group was there, I believe, for right about 28 minutes. And then, but you saw quite a bit. And I appreciate that. And it was great. A lot of drills, no 11-11 on work that took place while the media was there. It was all individual drills. Real athletic looking group. But the prospects that were there, obviously, wonder what they thought about the music. They probably liked it more than me. They probably knew what the songs were. I did not. It was very much like me watching the American Music Awards. I'm like, who's that? And I say every 10 minutes. Very old man thing to do. But anyway,
Daryl Jackson was there?
Caleb Cunningham. Who'd you say?
Wait a minute. I just had it up here. It was Daryl Johnson. I said Jackson. Daryl Johnson was there. Duke Johnson from Georgia.
Duke Johnson. Yep.
Yeah.
He likes Alabama a lot.
Two athlete in the country. And
he digs Alabama. That's another very possible. Early on in the cycle, and you can't get any earlier in the cycle than this. I mean, signing day was a month ago. So we're a month into the new cycle. I'm still not learning. I mean, I'm learning about it all, but I'm really focused on the in-state guys because I guess you could say myself always learn from inside out. Okay, who are the local guys? Who are the local guys before I get a more of an expansive understanding of the whole country? But Duke is one of those guys that I know is very high up on the very possible he ends up signing with Alabama. By the way, I'm optimistic. I read all the time of people saying, hey, for a first year, a top 10 class would be great. Top 15 would be really good considering these guys just got here. I agree with that notion, but I actually think Alabama's going to sign a really good group. I don't know if I want to use the word expect, but today, y'all can hold me to this. Today, I mean, I think it's going to be top 5.
Whoa. Now that, I'll tell you what, that would be pretty serious news. I mean, and that would alleviate a ton of fears in the fan base. Because I think right now everybody's pro Kalen DeBoer, but everybody wants to see what that recruiting class looks like.
I think it'd be top 5, and then people will complain it's not number 1. It's what's probably going to happen. But
if people complain it's not number 1, we will virtually slap them through the internet.
but I think some of the same people that today are saying, top 10 to be great. Top 15, not good, but I'll take it. Those same people, when it's not number 1, will be like, where do we gather with the tiki torches and the tar and the feathers?
We're drawing and quartering Kalen DeBoer at what time again? Is it okay. That's going to do it for today's podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys are the absolute best. Please do hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you creeping up on 10,000. It's just a milestone we just want to hit. So thank you guys a ton, and we will see you tomorrow. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.